I never had a hard time with women ever in my life. I've always had like female attraction, I guess you can say. It was never hard for me, but throughout my journey, when things started to especially pick up for me with the brand and I'm outside and I'm getting validation and all this other shit, that's when it started to really get crazy. And when I say crazy, I mean crazy, bro. Like, you probably sitting here like, bro, nah, like, I be getting females and shit. Like, nah, like, this shit was to a whole other level, you know? At the time, I didn't realize it because obviously when you're youthful, you have like a lot of energy and shit. But when I was younger, I guess you can say, I spent so much time on chasing the wrong things rather than focusing on what was giving me momentum. Because let's be real, right? To build momentum with anything, I don't give a fuck if you're selling mangoes on the corner or you're trying to build a clothing brand or you get into the online space or even, you know, trying to climb up the corporate ladder. It needs so many of your brain points every single day. And let's just say your brain points is almost like marbles in a jar. If they're spread all over the place, you can only get so far. But the person that can hold on to all those brain points and just focus on like what's essential to him, he skyrockets. And that's how you see like so many brands out of nowhere just like go crazy because they put all their time, energy, and attention just into that one thing. So when things started to go crazy for me, and this was probably like 2017, 18, I mean, bro, you want to talk about degeneracy? Like, I was degenerate as fuck, bro. I'm over here wilding out. I'm over here hurting women, not in no physical way. I'm not crazy like that, but I'm over here, you know, just verbally and just off of my actions, you know, I'm just wilding out. I'm not caring about shit because things was coming in so effortlessly for me. I really could give two shits about anybody else's feelings, but that's kind of like narcissistic in a way because it was all about me at that moment. And it's like, there's obviously other people that's being involved in the woman I was with at the time. And I'm not going to say her name. Me and her had a very extremely toxic relationship. And I know that you understand me probably right now where I'm coming from as far as just like living a double life when hella money and hella resources and everything start coming in, because it's like I want to hold on to this person and at the same time I'm trying to live free. But it's like you can't live both worlds. There was a time where I was living both worlds and I'm like, holy fuck, like now me being an older man, I'm just looking back at like, how did I spend so much of my time on like these women when it's just like I had one girl right here that was really down for the cause and was really down with me at the beginning of my whole entire journey. And me and her just had this chaotic relationship that took up so much energy, so much time, so much attention. It wasn't obviously all because of my actions as well. It was because of hers too. But when you just have like this degenerate relationship and you just feel numb, you know what I mean, to the person that you with, it's almost like you're walking on eggshells as soon as you around them and you're not really being yourself. You start seeking for other things outside of that person. You start seeking other women. You start seeking validation from other women. You start seeking the things that that person may not have for you or what you might think that they don't have for you. You know what I'm saying? As far as like your needs and wants. So that's really what happened. You know what I mean? I was just wilding out, girl after girl, sex after sex, hookup after hookup. And at the time, I'm looking at my peers, I'm looking at friends that started off in the trenches with me and they're just, boom, they going up like a fucking rocket shit, bro. Like, and I'm like, how the fuck is everybody else scaling up their brands? And I got a dope ass brand, especially back then to the audience and everything that I was serving within the underground scene. And I'm like, how am I not going crazy scaling up my brand? You know what I mean? And it wasn't just because of the women. It was also because of just like my mental bandwidth. Almost imagine like just a Band-Aid getting pulled and pulled and pulled and pulled and pulled and pulled and pulled. I was getting pulled by so many different things, multiple different women, relationship that I was currently in, business, learning all these skills, got a team, we shipping out all the orders, family shit going on, my mom. It was so much stuff at that time that it was just like I needed to subtract. And if you going through this type of problem right now where you just feel like you're spread hella thin, you don't need to add more. You don't need to add more books. You don't need to add more courses. You don't need to add more friends. You don't need to add more nothing. It's like you just need to start subtracting everything from your life, from the apps. That's probably all all on your phone, the screen time, friends, family. You just need to subtract and just like really go within the source. And I wish that somebody would have told me that earlier within my journey, you know, because looking back, I literally put so much time and energy and attention onto women. And what's crazy is that the women that I put so much energy, time, and attention into, I'm not even with them right now, not with none of them. And honestly, it's like looking back when feelings is involved and shit like that, it's left more pain and more healing and more suffering than anything. And at the time when I'm looking at, like I said, when I'm looking at all of my friends and they just going crazy with their brands, I'm sitting there asking myself, like, what is it? And a big problem was that I was putting so much time and attention on to females. And the reality is that if I just took all of that energy and if I would have just transmutated that energy and just focused on my relationship, or even breaking that relationship off just to be even more focused, because obviously it was a toxic relationship even during that time. And if I would have just stayed extremely focused when I had momentum, everything would have just totally looked different for me. People used to ask me all the time, like, bro, how is your brand like not going crazy? And obviously, like, I was doing my thing and I was going crazy, but people were really asking, like, bro, this brand right here is trash and they running up the bag like crazy. How are you not going crazy with your brand? And at the time, I really did not even have an answer for them. I'm just like, oh, you know, people sleeping on me, you know, we wanted the illest brands out there. But it was almost like, I wouldn't say a victim mentality, but almost like an excuse, showing the real reason why we wasn't scaling up like everybody else. And one of those main reasons was that I was too deep into the streets and the party life and the women and living double lives and all this other stuff. And it was so chaotic. And like I said, I was spreading so far thin that I couldn't even put my time, energy, and focus into my brand like I wanted to. So if you're watching this video right now and you at a place, and I really want you to listen to me, bro. If you at a place right now where you trying to scale up your brand and you want to go crazy and you got some type of momentum, I promise you now, the hardest thing to ever get back with anything that you ever do in life is momentum. Right now, currently, I'm making this video. I only have 1,000 subs on YouTube and I'm only averaging like 100 views, right? It's hard to get the momentum pumping. You know what I mean? Like, even on my last drop that I did, even with my brand, it wasn't the best, but it's one of those things where I took 2 years off and now I got to get the momentum pumping again. So if you got momentum right now and you trying to scale up your brand and go to the next level or scale up your business or whatever it is that you do not need to add more things. You need to start subtracting like right now. And if women is your God, because every man has a God, it can be video games, it can be women, it can be whatever. For me, it was women and alcohol. I've handled the alcohol part. I'm not an alcoholic, but you know, I like to party and have fun. But once I handled the alcohol part, now it's coming down to the women part. And once I started just cutting out and subtracting and just cutting out all of the fat, not just with women, but everything else in my life, and just making it more and more essential, that's how I was able, you know, to start growing immensely with my brand and also as well with my life. So with that being said, if you're trying to scale your brand and get your brand right and get it to the next level, I highly advise you click this video right here.